hello. It is Saturday afternoon and it's Agile World. Oh, whoop, 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 whoop. How's it going?
It's good. It's good. I've recovered from yesterday. That was hard work, but I enjoyed it. I learned some stuff, and I'll try to be good and not do it again.
So you were on an absolutely awesome event, which we know is close to some of our hearts. Fashion. Do you want to go through it?
Yeah. So it was really interesting because it's very hard to know how to pitch a talk when you don't know who you're talking with and you don't know the audience. So I went from the other end of Agile. Instead of going really techie, really jargony, I actually removed as much of the jargon as possible because I just assumed that I was talking to clients rather than people that know what things mean in the Agile world. So that was one part that was quite interesting. And then the way it was actually operated by Yulia, who's a trustee of the Agile20Reflect Festival, was that we had a couple of speakers who talked about their experience of fashion and what they're trying to do in fashion business. And then I tried to assist them as an Agile coach. I think it was okay. I think that they didn't really have as many problems as you would normally expect in business because neither of their new fashion businesses have launched yet. So they haven't really come up against the kind of organizational issues that require an Agile approach. However, the first lady spoke about branding. And I think that was really interesting that actually Agile itself has a branding. And not in terms of the certification organizations, but in terms of how you're perceived by people. Yeah. Saying you're an Agile organization has value.
Yes, and it does. And it's popular. It's actually, believe it or not, linking to the conversation, it's fashionable. It is fashionable at the moment. It is fashionable to be Agile, to say you're Agile. But there's one thing saying you're Agile, but are you being Agile? I'm going to have to just close the door because it's just my luck. As soon as we decided to record, my husband's brought out all the power tools that make noise. Carry on there.
Okay. So the actual talk was really interesting in that respect. And then I went into about 20 minutes of a presentation and kind of broke things down. So I spoke about Kanban in respect of taking ideas through the process of converting them into garments, as you would with industrial fashion. Because I've worked with some brands I can't name. Sorry, they are forever unnameable. But the point is, sorry,
don't get us into trouble on that. But Kanban's really exactly, but because fashion is a fast-paced, fast-changing world.
Yeah, and it does lend itself to Agile because there are continuous flows of problems.
Yeah.
So in a normal workflow, things get put to one side that can't be resolved. In Agile, we have a mechanism that actually allows us to take them back into the backlog and rework them.
Yeah.
So I think that it does lend itself to an Agile way of working. The major issue is multiple vendors and getting those vendors to align to your Agile way, which you actually should be negotiating at contract point rather than once you're in and once you're working with them. Because if you want them to have the same kind of cadences that you have, those iteration periods, and actually be accessible during those points when you're doing your planning, they need to know. And large organizations dealing with tech companies, even in Bay Area and San Francisco, are now saying this is what we're expecting from you. And if you can't do this, then we can't really work together.
And this is part of your ways of working. And it's part of ways of working, not just in fashion, but for organizations at the end of the day. And there's a lot of organizations that have a customer base that they work with that do struggle to be able to say to a customer that this is our ways of working. They almost feel that they can't say that. They can't say that we work in this type of way and this is how frequent we're able to release, or this is how frequent we're able to do this and this is how we do things, they almost fear, a lot of businesses, to be able to say that to the customer, even though that is actually a benefit to the customer. And that's quite interesting, not just IT industries, but the fact, like you just mentioned it, in a fashion industry, these ways of working needs to be expressed. The benefits need to be expressed. And this is the way that we're doing it. You're giving me a funny look there.
No, I'm just thinking it's in the fashion industry, we know the timelines in advance. They are set down. London Fashion Week is a set period. Paris Fashion Week, even the Barcelona shows. They are known time periods, and they are time locked. So if you are coming up with new ideas and you need to interrogate them and you need to do some high level designs, and then you want to do details and some maquettes or some models that you want to test new fabrics in, or new ways of fastenings, or new structuring, you have to do it in a certain time frame if you want to meet the timelines of these shows. And what the fashion industry does is it doesn't go to those shows with the complete line. They go with a sample set.
Yeah.
And in those fashion shows are buyers, and they decide that they're going to buy 200,000 of a certain look or a certain style.
And actually, when it comes to fashion, you think their almost release period, like comparing fashion to IT, they are almost living on those calendars for New York, Paris, those fashion weeks. But also you've got
Don't
the
forget
other.
London. Everyone gets upset if you forget London.
London. Can't forget London.
I've actually been to London Fashion Week, and
You know,
I've been to Barcelona.
That is my dream. That is my dream, to actually be there and sit in a show for some particular brands that we cannot actually mention on the show. But you know, Karl, for knowing me. Also, it's also for other brands that almost, I don't want to use the word copycat, but almost look at this fashion to know what's coming next, to make sure they're prepared, and they're doing it pretty quickly. There's been a lot of brands out there, which I can't mention, that once you've seen it on the catwalk, there's been a more affordable version.
Yeah, so I've worked with some of those as well.
Yeah, I know.
So I've worked with the companies involved with looking on TV and film to see what people are wearing, and also even cheaper versions that are focused on mass markets, where they literally see the photograph from the catwalk and then try and work out how to build it. And in one of them, there's now a very massive organization that has no online presence, apart from a very basic website, doesn't actually sell online. They were looking at, how do we go online? And their problem wasn't that they didn't have good products. Their problem was, how do we show themselves to be fashionable and a fashion organization without actually giving away what they're doing next?
Yeah.
Because they are taking other people's ideas and making them cheaper. So it was a good experience to do the talk. I think I've been told that the video is going to be used in universities to help people understand Agile relative to fashion. But I think it's even in the Kanban, I actually took away some of the common icons and actually changed them for light bulbs and for patterns. And I didn't get to all the way through, but I would have changed it for, when you say patterns, it's pattern cutters. Yeah. So there's a whole bunch of things. And even now, even with command CNC, computer numerical control, people still hand cut to make the maquettes, because you couldn't actually, the cost of doing that with a machine is just astronomical. And a lot of the fashion houses themselves don't make their products anymore. It's all outsourced.
Yeah.
So
that, you know, I did really enjoy that event last night, and we've got some really good events coming up. I've got a post-it note over so we don't show brands. We've done this fashion event, we're very about brands. Excuse my post-it note if you're watching on the video. Please feel free to question me though. Drop me a message online. So we've got some amazing events coming up this weekend as well, and I'm actually going to share my screen so you can physically all see the calendar. How's that worked, Karl?
Yeah, As if by technology we can see your screen.
Oh, another thing. So there's actually some events that we're actually going to today. There's really, really good ones coming up. So you've got today, later on, coming up soon. Let's go and have a look at. So you've got this evening, you've got the picture artist ones, which we all know I'm absolutely crazy about this, being able to, it's visualization art, being able to facilitate using visual tools and that lot. So that's coming up tonight. That's 5 p.m., 6 p.m. tonight. Then you've got one for Nigeria. So Agile Good for Governance, uncovering the path of continuous improvement in governance.
We should probably call out that there is a duplication on your screen, but I have actually removed the duplicates. So I don't know why your screen is not refreshing to actually get the...
Oh, no, I just refreshed. Proof in the pudding, I've just refreshed, but do that offline. You're doing Agile World right now. These are some things Karl does in the background. This one, I was actually talking to Karl before we started filming on this one. I thought would be quite interesting. And that is on the 21st assessment. So how to conduct an Agile assessment. Now, as Agile coaches, this is like one of the first things that we will do when we go into an organization or into a department, is actually run an assessment. And the one thing I find as an Agile coach when I run these is people become quite scared when you're saying you're going to run an assessment, because
are you giving me a test? Is this a test that I can pass or fail?
It's not that, actually. It's the judgment. They feel like they're being judged, and especially when you're working with a team that welcome you as an Agile coach to come in and make some changes, but they also fear is this going to management? Is this going to cause redundancies? All sorts can actually.
It's the time and motion fear, isn't it? It's you're an expert from outside, and so therefore you're not really there for them. You're just there for the management to cut jobs. Yeah.
And anyone that's seeing this right now, watching Agile World or listening to this, if you have an Agile coach in your organization now, or you have an Agile coach coming in, please bear with them, work with them, because they're not there to tell you you're wrong. They're not there to say that you can't do your job. They're there to make improvements that will benefit you. So very
and give them the truth. I think that's the other thing, is if they get lots of half truths, then their plan that they come out with won't work. 100%. That means that the organization will spend the money on them, expect it to work, and it will not work. And ultimately, they will undermine the people that provided the information, because actually their ways of working won't get any better. Probably they'll get worse.
And unfortunately, you've got next to it is leading an Agile transformation. It's actually on around about the same time, which is a bit of a shame there. We've also got one tomorrow night. So this that's quite close to me and Karl. We're actually facilitating this one, which is, does Agile help to improve mental health in teams? So that's actually tomorrow between 2 and 3 p.m.
I'm really looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to their proposition. And I don't know if people know about how you make a proposal in one of these kind of events, but it's the proposition that the mental health is improved by teamwork in Agile is an interesting one, because a lot of Agile, like we was talking with the Agile myths, is focused on speeding things up.
Yeah.
When actually the real main focus is people. And a great Scrum Master knows when someone comes in the morning and there's something wrong with that person, because they are part of the team. They are not handing out work as a boss, so they're not overseeing people. They're supporting people, so they facilitate them, and some points they're facilitating into HR for help.
And you know what? Not being purposely organized, but some of these events lead in. You can almost spend all day on just these events, because they lead into each other very well. You've got next to it 4 to 5 Agile mindset, nail it and then scale it. And then you've got afterwards, you've got later on, you've got you could go straight into growing Agile organizations, business agility, a startup. And you've also then got more women in leadership roles in Agile. I mean, they just perfectly lead in. You could literally spend a whole entire day just attending these. Is there There were some particular ones that you were keen to go to, wasn't there, as well?
So I'm actually quite fascinated by the one on the 22nd, the vinegar tasters, a Taoist, a Buddhist, and a Confucian walk into agility. That makes me laugh, because obviously they are both ancient notions of living and philosophies, but they're also forms of logic. So the Tao logic is not the same as Confucius logic, or the same as Buddhist. So Buddhist logic is a completely diverse and different way of understanding the world. So I'm fascinated by this one, and it's at 9 o'clock in the morning, so I might actually be awake.
Really, at 9? No, you don't say that, because you're not. It's 11, 12 o'clock, and that's because you do work to about 3, 4. I think, what was it? What morning was it? Was it Friday morning? You said good morning to me at 5:30 a.m. and you hadn't gone to bed, and I was just starting work.
I'm just problem solving, okay? And sometimes, I find that if you leave a problem, you often have to go back and restart from the beginning, because the problem is context switching. So I'm switching from one context to another, and if you do that with too many things, you lose the context of what you were working on and why you were making the next step. So it's definitely a harder life than people that think 9 to 5, but I get things done. So.
You've also joined the team now that is actually working on the closing ceremony, or we're not calling it, we're changing the name of that, but you've actually now joined the team as well, which is quite exciting.
I was always there. I was sitting in the shadows in the corner observing to see what was happening. I didn't volunteer for anything, but I've been volunteered accidentally, anecdotally.
You're always in the background with me anyway, because obviously we speak quite regularly. The one thing some of you guys don't know, with Agile20Reflect in the background with the teams, and we like to give you the inside information because we're part of that, is what's been really, really clever is the way the teams basically expand and disband when required. So as an example, if a particular area requires more people because there's more work come in, we can then pull people from one team and expand that team when required, then disband it and move out into another team. It's almost very much it's like a breathing technique. We require, because more work's come into that area for a particular reason, and then we disband it. So I think it's very clever the way that the Agile20Reflect organization has been created and has been built.
I think we're agile. I think that's the main point. We are agile. We built a festival in an agile way with agilists, and I think that we have not tried to run to form. We've actually tried to experiment. There's another event here that I think I only just saw it. I think that's brilliant. Arrogance for agilists.
Yes, I mentioned that earlier. I thought that's going to be an amazing one to go to.
I think I may be overqualified.
Maybe. Be honest here. You are a good egg. There's one for the people in into the safe, so the scaled agile, so applying an agile mindset at a scale panel discussion. That's on the 22nd. We've got here an agile week. Registration's open. What's this one? Let's have a look at. I'm going to have a little bit of a nosy on this one.
I feel kind of bad that I can't actually read the Spanish on so many of these events to explain what it is.
I know, and I'm not passing by them. I mean, these are things that we can get again. Obviously, we've mentioned a few times that everybody in Agile20Reflect will getting together in March and looking at what improvements we are retrospecting on an enormous level, what improvements we make. And actually, maybe that should be one of the improvements, Carl, just the fact that you can auto-translate. So then
it's not even the translation, it's because some of it's cultural as well. So I think there's lots of technical things we can do, but also I think we just need to change our mindset a bit about this. I noticed there's something that's quite far out happening on the 23rd.
Oh, let's have a look.
So I'm gonna name the things that clash, and there's lots of clashing going on here. So I can't name them all actually. There's about 12, 13 different things all starting at 6 p.m. on the 23rd. I quite like the idea of this one as well. Do we really need managers in an agile world?
Yes, I saw that one. I thought that's going to be a very interesting, it could be quite a controversial discussion as well. And we all know we like controversy here.
Well, it's, I know what the answer to that is straight away, but I think the point is, the question isn't, do we need managers? Do we need people that used to be managers?
Well, you've got
the question is we do. We just need them to do things differently.
You've got agile versus agile coaches. That's going to be quite an interesting one. Here you go. So here's a block of this is the start of the block of quite a few. So which one was it you were looking at?
I was looking at FAR, and I don't know what it stands for. Is it some sort of code?
That's not on the 23rd. It
says on the 23rd on this.
No, it's not. Oh yes, it is on the 23rd.
There's this blind spot that we have for our own events that causes us not to remember anything. Come on, Agile World, try and talk about your event, and I bet you anything you'll get the date wrong.
So you brought up my event. This is why I'm giggling. Yep. So I'm actually hosting an event with my really good friend Cynthia, and Cynthia's also hosting an event tomorrow as well. So we're hosting FAR, which is Focus, Accomplishment, and Reflect. This is around about personal agility. So we're going to be discussing how you can use your agility, not just in your personal life, but for your personal goals. So it's mainly going to be around, in a simple form, is we all, at the beginning of the year, in January or in December, we'll decide what goals that we would like to achieve by the end of the year. And 9 times out of 10, we've either not achieved any, but only achieved a certain percentage. So we're actually going to go through how you can actually achieve your goals. I'm not going to give too much information, otherwise I'm just going to go through the whole thing. But yeah, this is on at 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Karl will be attending.
Yeah, so I may be a little bit late. And the reason is that an event that I had to duck out from with Erin Randall because it clashed with the Red Team event from last week, had to be moved to Tuesday. Now, when I ducked out, I contacted my good friend Evelyn, who I worked with in NatWest, to take over from me, because I knew that she wanted to speak at the festival. I didn't know she had any events in. She knows what she's talking about, which is always helpful. And she's very direct and very focused, and I like people like that. I know that other people don't like this kind of persona, but I do, and it's my persona as well. So I asked her to take over the running of it. So this is an event called New Ways of Working the Human Component, because I think it's a major issue. We've now realized that Agile has created this huge problem in organizations where thinking technically you can deliver Agile, but actually you destroy people as part of the process. And you need to now start, not everyone, but it has happened. I think it's happened less over the last 3 or 4 years, but in the previous 15 years, it happened a lot that people were bulldozed. And so the question here is, how do we bring humanity into Agile coaching and actually changing how organizations work?
Can I just confirm, you are telling me live here while we're doing the show, this is close to divorce proceedings now. So you are now announcing to me to make sure I don't react that you won't be attending my event.
No, I will be attending your event. I'm just explaining to Erin and Evelyn on here with some level of comfort, since it's to the world, why I won't be there for all of it.
Breaking the Agile World. Sabrina and Karl will get divorced for their online. I don't think you can go. It's like Richard and.
I want the dogs.
You want the dogs. You don't get the dogs. You don't get my fur babies. I'm gonna rip it. That should be the opening post. Sabrina and Karl possibly divorce each other from Agile World. I'll take Agile, you can take World. How's that, love?
Well, I'm fine. I've always wanted to be in charge of the world.
So, all goes aside, fully under. We support each other either way. So I
Yeah.
am.
No, I will be at yours because I understand Shelby will be there, and I have learned that heckling is a really important facet of being an agilist after listening to Scott's confessions. So I'll be in the front row.
And at the end of the day, do you know what? It's a difficulty here, and this is the one amazing part about the festival is there's so many good ones. Because I'm now looking at the new way of working the human components, and I also are looking at, do we really need managers in an agile world? And I'm also looking at Agile Take 31 Next. These are all events that are happening at exactly the same time as my own event. I'm thinking, oh, I wish I could go to those as well.
So in previous organizations, we build it so that there's 2 or 3 choices, but I've never actually built it so there's like 15 choices. So I think that's a learning as well. If we do anything like this again, maybe not on such a grand scale, then actually we have time slots preset so people can't actually overbook certain areas.
Possibly, but then again, this is the beauty, and this is why we're having an archive. So there's been some events that I've not been able to go to because of work commitments. Obviously, my clients, my customers where I work is always going to be the priority, as well as there's been things I can't go to because I'm doing work for Agile20Reflect. That's also my priority. But I think it's made it a little bit more helpful knowing that we have the archive, knowing that yes, I may not be able to experience it by physically being there with the people, but I can still experience it and I'm not going to miss out. And that's actually made me feel a little bit better. And so even
I'm going to make a statement here that people need to hear.
yeah.
We're coming into the 4th week of the festival in a festival that's got almost 800 events, and we currently only have 70 videos supplied to the archive. So if you went to an event and you liked it and you go to the archive and it's not there, can you contact the organizer?
Yeah.
Because the purpose of the archive isn't to monetize it. We don't want to make money from this. We literally have done this for free. What we do want, however, is to capture the moment in time and to make that resource available. I mean, these are fabulous training resources for people. They are a fantastic credential for the people that spoke, and I think it's a legacy. I really do think we have done something majorly historical here. You know, if any other time we would have got mainstream press interest because we put on probably the biggest online festival ever.
Yeah.
But we can't get that because everyone's focused on surviving, which I completely get. But in retrospect, I think we have done something historical here. But not us. We, all of us, and so I don't want to lose what all of us have done. And I also don't want to miss everything I couldn't attend because I had to do back-end fixes on the website.
What we'll do is when we actually post this out, we will put guidance, a link, so everybody knows who have missed it or not too sure how to do this to get it to the archive, and we'll put those details. Yeah,
that's great. There is currently no backlog in the archive. It's clear. I finished it this morning, so it's up to date. So yeah, I am a jack of all trades. I do everything that needs done. There are other archivists apart from me, and we're hopefully going to get more people involved. But the most important thing is I'm not under pressure because there isn't anything to do.
And we want stuff to do. Well, not want.
Yes,
stuff.
we do. We do. It's literally. I would be happy if I got 50% of all of the events into the archive. But if I was a speaker and my event wasn't in the archive, I'd be quite why did I do it? Because I'm not.
Well, 100%, 100%. I mean, it's good for the speakers as well. It's getting their name out there. It's getting, you know, and it's getting their resources, their thoughts, their views. This is a rarity that we have this opportunity. You know, it's a rarity that someone's going to see me as an example. Okay, yes, you see me on Agile World, but to get my version of a story.
You're honestly, you are very rare.
I know, I'm special, and this is why you don't want to divorce me. I make you look good. No, I'm joking there. But
everyone makes me look good. That's my job.
Right today. Well, we do. Right. Thank you very much for our time. I think we've ran over again. We always start these and think, well, what are we going to chat about? But I think that shows what our friendship's like, because we could just go on. There's just so much going on. There's so much fun. There's so much awesomeness. It is just amazing. So as usual, drop us a message below. If you have any other questions, we love doing those questions and answer sessions. And we might sometimes, you know, give us some questions. We'll bring some of the other guys to come in. You don't always want to listen to us answer these questions, but they've been really good. So hope everybody has a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Yeah.